Asterisk Story 1. The Road That EATS Memory. The GPS said I'd been driving north for 63 hours straight, but I'd only filled my tank once. That's when I knew the Dalton Highway was doing something to time, and possibly to me. My name is Robert Hayes, 42 years old, 20 years hauling freight across Alaska, and the fuel gauge reading 3/4 full after what should have been 3,000 miles made my hands start shaking on the wheel. The load was simple. Pipeline equipment from Fairbanks to Deadhorse, a route I'd driven 70, maybe 80 times. Except this time the sun hadn't moved in the sky for 2 days. Just hung there at the horizon, that perpetual twilight you get above the Arctic Circle, but wrong. Frozen in place like God had pressed pause on the world and forgotten about it. The temperature readout on my dash flickered between -42 and -42, never wavering a single degree. My coffee had gone cold and stayed cold, not frozen, just existing in this state of permanent cold that made my teeth ache when I sipped it. Mile marker 247 passed by my window. Then, 4 miles later, according to my odometer, mile marker 247 again. I radioed dispatch. Static. Tried my cell phone. No signal, which wasn't unusual up here, except I'd had 2 bars just before the markers started repeating. The road stretched ahead, a gray ribbon through white nothing, mountains in the distance that never got closer no matter how long I drove toward them. I'd left Fairbanks on March 14th, 2023 at 0600 hours. My logbook said it was now March 17th, but my phone, before it lost signal, had said March 15th. My watch said March 14th. The clock on my dash said it was somehow March 9th. Every timepiece I owned was telling me something different, and all of them were wrong because I could feel in my bones that I'd been driving much longer than any of them suggested. The first time I saw another vehicle, I nearly wept with relief. Headlights in my mirror coming up fast. I slowed down, moved right, let them pass. It was a Peterbilt, blue, hauling a reefer unit. I caught a glimpse of the driver as they went by. Middle-aged guy, beard, scared eyes. He looked at me as he passed, and his mouth moved like he was screaming, but I couldn't hear anything. Then I read the company name on his trailer. Hayes Arctic Freight, my company. I looked at my own trailer in my mirror. Hayes Arctic Freight. Same logo, same trailer number, BC 7743. I looked at his trailer as it pulled ahead, BC 7743. I was watching myself drive away from myself. My heart started doing something irregular in my chest, like it couldn't decide on a rhythm. I grabbed my CB radio. Blue Peterbilt, this is the Kenworth behind you, come back. Static. Blue Pete, you're driving my trailer, we need to talk. Nothing. The truck ahead maintained speed, pulling away slowly, and then the tail lights just vanished. Not like they drove over a hill. They were there, and then they weren't, like someone had erased them from existence. Mile marker 247 again. I pulled over, put on my flashers, killed the engine, needed to think, needed to understand what was happening. My breath fogged in the cab despite the heater running full blast. No, wait, I turned off the engine, but the heater was still running. I looked at the ignition, keys dangling, engine off. But I could hear it idling, feel the vibration through the seat. I turned the key to start it. The engine was already running. I turned it off. It stayed running. Off, on, the key didn't matter anymore. The truck had decided it was running, and nothing I did changed that. I stepped out into the cold. It hit me like a physical force, that Arctic air, 60 below with wind chill, and I immediately understood I'd made a mistake. But when I tried to open the door to get back in, my hand passed through the handle, not like it was intangible. Like my hand and the handle existed in slightly different versions of reality and couldn't quite touch each other. I tried again. Same thing. My hand went through the metal like it was smoke. Panic makes you stupid. I know this. 20 years on the road teaches you to stay calm. But I was screaming now, clawing at the door, my hands passing through metal, through glass, through everything. The cold was inside my lungs, crystallizing, and I could feel my face starting to freeze, that deep ache that comes before frostbite. I was going to die out here, locked out of my own truck by physics that had stopped working. Then I was inside. No transition, no opening door. One moment I was outside freezing to death, the next I was in the driver's seat, engine running, heater blasting. My logbook was open on the passenger seat. I hadn't opened it. The last entry in my handwriting said March 14th, 600 departing Fairbanks. Below it in the same handwriting but shakier, March 14th, 600 depart. Arting Fairbanks. And again, and again. The page was filled with the same entry 70, 80 times, my handwriting deteriorating into desperate scrawls at the bottom of the page. I flipped forward, every page was the same. March 14th, 600, departing Fairbanks. Hundreds of entries. I flipped to the back of the logbook. More entries, but different now. March 14th, 600, I can see myself ahead on the road. March 14th, 600, the mile markers are counting backward now. March 14th, 600, I've stopped aging, but the truck is getting older. March 14th, 600, I've been here for 17 years. That last entry was dated March 14th, 2040. 17 years from now. I threw the logbook across the cab. It hit the passenger window and fell onto the seat, and when I looked at where it landed, there were 3 logbooks there now. I'd thrown one. There were 3. I picked up the nearest one. Different cover, worn, dirty, opened it. March 14th, 600, departing Fairbanks. Same entries, same deteriorating handwriting, but the dates ran further. To 2067. 44 years of March 14th. The third logbook stopped at 2091. The last page said, in handwriting I barely recognized as my own, I finally understand. The road doesn't go anywhere. It goes nowhen. We're not lost in space. We're lost in time, and it's digesting us slowly. I looked up at the road ahead. There were trucks there now, dozens of them, all stopped, flashers on, stretching into the distance. I grabbed my flashlight, opened the door, it opened normally this time, and walked forward. The cold didn't touch me. I was too numb inside where it mattered. The first truck I reached was a Kenworth. My model, Hayes Arctic Freight, BC 7743. The door was open. I looked inside, empty. Engine running, logbook on the seat. I walked to the next truck. Same thing, empty. Engine running, all of them dozens of trucks, all mine, all empty, all running forever on a road that went nowhere. Except one, maybe the 50th truck ahead. There was someone in the driver's seat. I approached slowly. He was slumped over the wheel, not moving. I reached up, knocked on the door. He stirred, lifted his head, turned to look at me. It was me, but old, 70, maybe 80, beard down to his chest, white as Arctic snow. His eyes were hollow, exhausted beyond description. He looked at me and his mouth moved. "You can't leave." His voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "The road keeps you. Every time you try, it just makes another copy. Another you, another truck, another forever." "How long have you been here?" I asked. "I don't know. The number stopped meaning anything. Decades, maybe longer. Time works different when you're being digested." Digested. The road is alive. It's hungry. It eats possibility. Every choice you might have made, every place you might have gone, it consumes them. Traps you in the moment of driving north forever and feeds on all the life you won't get to live. I backed away from the truck, started running. Back toward my own Kenworth, the first one, the one that was still mine, but the trucks went on forever now. Hundreds of them, thousands, all identical, all empty except for that one old version of me, and I couldn't tell any more which direction I'd come from. I picked a truck at random, climbed in, started driving. Mile marker 247, then 248, progress. I accelerated, pushing the rig to 70, 80 miles per hour, dangerous on ice, but I didn't care. Mile marker 250, 255, 260. The mountains in the distance were getting closer. I was getting out. I was escaping. Mile marker 247. No, I'd passed that. I'd gotten to 260. But there it was, 247. Then the mountains in the distance, exactly the same distance they'd always been. The perpetual twilight sun in the exact same position. And in my mirror headlights, a blue Peterbilt coming up fast, Hayes Arctic Freight, BC 7743. I grabbed my logbook, flipped to today's page. March 14th, 600, departing Fairbanks. My hand was moving on its own now, writing the entry again. March 14th, 600, departing Fairbanks. I tried to stop, but my hand kept writing. March 14th, 600, departing Fairbanks. Over and over, filling the page while I watched in horror. The Peterbilt passed me. I saw myself in the driver's seat, younger, scared, first time through. He didn't wave, just stared ahead at the road that would trap him. That had already trapped him. That had always been trapping him. I drive north on the Dalton Highway. I've been driving for what my oldest logbook says is 68 years. The fuel gauge still reads 3/4 full. The mile markers still repeat. Sometimes I see the old version of me, the one who warned me, still slumped in his truck, or maybe he's died, and that's just his body, preserved in the timeless cold. Sometimes I see younger versions just arriving, not understanding yet what the road is doing to them. The GPS still says I'm driving north, but I know the truth now. There is no north here. There's no direction at all. Just the eternal moment of March 14th, 2023, 0600 hours, departing Fairbanks forever. The road is patient. It has all the time in the world. It has all of my time. And somewhere out there, another Robert Hayes is just starting his route, checking his logbook, writing that first entry. March 14th, 600, departing Fairbanks. He doesn't know that he's already been here for 70 years. That time on this road doesn't flow forward or backward. It pools, it stagnates, it digests. The worst part isn't being trapped. It's that every version of me that arrives makes the trap bigger. We're building our own prison, truck by truck, moment by moment, an infinite procession of the same drive, the same man, the same fear repeated until meaning dissolves. I saw a sign once appearing between the mile markers. It said, "Welcome to forever." Then it was gone. I still drive. What else is there? The wheel is in my hands. The road is ahead. The mountains never get closer. My watch says March 14th. My phone says March 14th. My logbook says March 14th. Every calendar I check says March 14th. The world outside the Dalton Highway is still spinning, still progressing through time, still moving forward. But here, in this gray ribbon through white nothing, March 14th lasts forever. And sometimes, in the distance, I see lights that aren't trucks. Cities that don't exist in Alaska, places I've never been. The lives I might have lived if the road hadn't started eating my time. They shimmer on the horizon like mirages, all the choices I didn't make, all the years I won't get to have. The road shows them to me while it consumes them. A mercy and a torture. I think I understand now what that sign meant. This isn't hell. Hell is punishment. This is something else. This is hunger. An appetite that's older than roads, older than trucks, maybe older than time itself, and it's still eating. It'll never be full. The GPS says I've been driving north for 63 hours straight, but I know I've been here much longer, and I know I'll be here much longer still. The road goes on forever, and the party never ends. Asterisk story 2, the convoy that wouldn't stop. They were already following me when I woke up at the rest stop. 3 big rigs spaced exactly 200 yards apart in my mirrors. And I knew something was catastrophically wrong because I'd been alone when I pulled over to sleep. Patricia Sullivan, 38, hauling timber from Whitehorse to Prudhoe Bay. And those trucks had appeared in the 6 hours I'd been unconscious in my sleeper berth like they'd grown there, materialized from the Yukon winter itself. I radioed them. "Convoy behind me, this is the Freightliner hauling timber, what's your 20? Static, pure white noise. But they were right there, maybe 600 yards total distance, close enough I could see they were all the same model. Mac anthems, all black, no company markings, no dot numbers, nothing. Just black rigs hauling black trailers. And when I put my truck in gear and pulled back onto the Alaska highway, they moved exactly when I moved, maintaining that precise 200-yard spacing. The date was February 9th, 2023. Temperature was -51. I'd been driving this route for 9 years, knew every truck stop, every curve, every place where ice made the road treacherous. This stretch between Beaver Creek and the Alaskan border was 187 miles of nothing. No towns, no services, just road and forest and mountains. I'd see maybe 3 or 4 trucks in a good day. Never a convoy, never perfect spacing. Never vehicles with no identification. I accelerated. They accelerated, maintaining distance. I slowed down. They slowed. I touched my brakes. They touched theirs at the exact same instant, not delayed by reaction time, simultaneous, like we were connected, like they weren't following me but moving with me, an extension of my own truck. Mile marker 1,187. The border was at 1,202, 15 miles. I'd been watching those trucks in my mirror for 10 miles now, and something else was wrong. The headlights. All 6 of them, 3 trucks, each with 2 headlights, they didn't illuminate anything. The light came out, I could see the beams, but they didn't reflect off the snow, didn't light up the road. The light just stopped after a few feet, absorbed by darkness that had no right being that dark. My CB crackled, not static this time, a voice, my voice. "You shouldn't have stopped at that rest area." It was me speaking, my accent, my tone, but I hadn't said anything. Now we're connected, now we're part of the convoy. "Who the fuck is this?" I grabbed the CB, hands shaking. "Identify yourself." "You know who this is, Patricia. You're talking to..." "Yourself, all of us are you, every truck behind you is you. We all made the same mistake, we all stopped to rest, and now we're all driving forever." I switched CB channels, tried again. "If anyone can hear this, this is Patricia Sullivan, I'm being followed by..." The voice interrupted, still on the new channel. "There's no one else on the road, Patricia, just us, just the convoy. It grows every time someone stops, and it never ever ends." I threw the CB down, grabbed my phone. No signal, expected that. But when I looked at the screen, there was a message there from me, from my own number, sent 1 minute ago. "Don't look in your mirrors, it makes them more real." Too late, I'd been staring at those trucks for miles. And now that I looked, really looked, I could see the drivers, all 3 of them, all me, same red hair, same green jacket I was wearing, same face but wrong, expressions I'd never made. The nearest one was screaming, just screaming continuously, mouth wide open, never stopping for breath. The second one was laughing, head thrown back, hands barely on the wheel. The third was just staring at me with empty eyes, face slack, like a corpse that hadn't realized it was dead yet. Mile marker 1,190, 12 miles to the border. If I could just reach the border, cross into Alaska, maybe whatever this was would break. Maybe the convoy couldn't follow me across. But even as I thought it, I knew it was wrong. This wasn't about geography. This was about something else. The road curved right, following the Shakwack Valley. I knew this curve, taken it hundreds of times, but something was different now. The forest on either side was wrong. The trees were too uniform, spaced exactly the same distance apart like stage props rather than real forest. And they were moving, not swaying in wind, moving deliberately, rotating to follow my truck as I passed, every tree turning to watch me go by. "They're waking up," my voice said from the CB. I hadn't turned it back on. It was sitting on the passenger seat, powered off, but my voice came through anyway. The forest is waking up because we're here. The convoy makes things happen, changes reality around it. The more trucks that join, the stronger it gets. Right now we're 4. By tomorrow we'll be 8. By next week, hundreds, all of us Patricia, driving north forever, never stopping, never aging, never arriving. This isn't real, I said out loud to myself. I'm still asleep. This is a dream. You think we haven't all tried that? The CB laughed with my voice. You think every Patricia before you hasn't said the same thing? This is real, more real than anything you've known before. The convoy is the only truth now. I floored it. The freightliner jumped forward 60, 70, 80 miles per hour on ice, suicidal speed, but I didn't care. The trucks behind me accelerated instantly, matching speed, maintaining exact distance. The speedometer needle climbed, 90, 100. The truck was shaking, threatening to jackknife, but they stayed with me, perfectly spaced, 200 yards. Then I saw them ahead. More trucks, coming from the opposite direction. Mack Anthems, all black, spaced 200 yards apart, 3 of them, and as they got closer I could see the drivers, all me. The same 3 faces, screaming, laughing, empty. They passed by and I saw inside the cabs in that brief moment of proximity. The screaming one's mouth was full of darkness, not a throat, just void. The laughing one had too many teeth, rows and rows like a shark. The empty one had no eyes, just smooth skin where eyes should be. Mile marker 1,195. 7 miles, but the marker looked wrong. The paint was fresh, too fresh, like it had just been placed there seconds ago. I looked back at the last marker I'd passed, 1,190, looked ahead for the next one, 1,195, the same marker. I was passing 1,195 again, and again. The number wasn't changing. The trees had stopped pretending to be a forest. They were just vertical lines now, black strokes against white snow, repeating in perfect patterns. The sky was lowering, pressing down, and I could feel the weight of it on the roof of my cab. The mountains in the distance were two-dimensional, painted on a canvas stretched across the horizon. You're starting to see it now, the CB said. The convoy doesn't move through reality, it creates its own reality, and the more trucks that join, the stronger that reality becomes. Eventually, it'll be more real than the world outside, and then the convoy won't be trapped on the road will be all there is. I grabbed the CB, keyed it. What do you want? Why are you doing this? We don't want anything. We're not doing this. We're victims too. The convoy isn't intelligent. It's not evil. It's just a pattern that perpetuates itself. A loop of cause and effect that has no beginning. We're part of it now. We feed it. It grows. It spreads. Eventually, everyone on every road will be part of the convoy, all of them themselves, all of them driving, all of them trapped in the moment of being followed. Mile marker 1,195. Still, I'd been passing it for what felt like an hour, but my clock said only minutes had passed. Time was breaking down, too. The convoy didn't just trap you in space. It trapped you in time. The eternal present of driving, following, being followed. More trucks appeared ahead. Not 3 this time. Dozens, all black Mack Anthems, all spaced 200 yards apart, all with versions of me driving. And behind me, when I checked the mirrors, dozens more had appeared. The convoy was growing exponentially, multiplying, filling the road with infinite copies of the same vehicle, the same driver, the same cursed moment. I tried turning off the highway. There was a service road coming up, barely visible under snow, but I knew it was there. I yanked the wheel right. The freightliner responded, started to turn, but the road turned with me. The highway curved to follow my wheels. I straightened out. The road straightened. I was steering, but the road was controlling my direction, or we were controlling each other. I couldn't tell any more where my decisions ended and the convoy's reality began. You can't leave the convoy, my voice explained patiently from the dead CB. You're part of the pattern now. Your presence reinforces it. Your truck is one of the threads holding this reality together. If you left, we'd unravel. So the convoy won't let you leave. It loves you, Patricia. It needs you. We all need each other. The screaming version of me pulled up alongside. She was driving right next to me now, in a lane that didn't exist, her truck occupying the same space as the shoulder, as the forest, as reality itself. She turned to look at me. Up close I could see down her throat, see that infinite darkness that had replaced her esophagus. The darkness moved. Things swam in it, shapes that might have been more trucks or might have been something else. Her scream came through my windows, through my bones, through my thoughts. It said wordlessly, "You're already gone. You stopped being real the moment you stopped at that rest stop. Now you're just a ghost driving." I screamed back at her, incoherent rage and terror. She smiled around her scream, and then her truck just phased through mine. Passed through solid matter like neither of us was truly physical anymore. When she emerged from the other side, I felt something pull loose inside me, something essential. I looked down at my hands on the wheel. They were translucent. I could see through them to the steering wheel beneath, becoming less real, becoming part of the convoy's twisted reality. Mile marker 1195. Forever now, the number had become meaningless. I'd been passing it for hours or days or seconds. My fuel gauge hadn't moved, full tank, always full. The convoy provided, the convoy sustained. The convoy wanted me to drive forever, so fuel appeared, tires never wore down, the engine never overheated. All the physical limitations of trucking just ceased to exist. The laughing version of me appeared in my passenger seat. I hadn't seen her get in. She just materialized there, and her laughter rattled the windows. Too many teeth in that mouth, all of them mine, all of them wrong. "You're doing great," she said between laughs. "You're accepting it, that's the first step. Soon you'll be like us. Soon you'll be one of the convoy, not Patricia Sullivan anymore, just driver, just the eternal act of driving. Won't that be peaceful?" "Get out of my truck," I said, but my voice was weak, transparent like my hands. "This isn't your truck anymore. It's our truck. The convoy's truck, look." She pointed at the dashboard. The manufacturer's plate had changed. Instead of Freightliner, it said Convoy. The VIN number was just repeating twos. The registration was made out to driver, convoy vehicle 4857. 4857. There were that many of me now, that many Patricias in black trucks, all following, all being followed, all trapped in the loop. I tried to open the door, needed air, needed out. But there was no door handle anymore. The door was solid, seamless. The windows were the same. No cracks, no seams, just smooth surfaces that looked like glass but might have been something else. The laughing me just laughed harder. There's no outside anymore, just inside, just the cab, just driving. The empty-eyed version appeared in the sleeper berth behind me. I saw her in my peripheral vision. She leaned forward, her face next to my ear, and when she spoke, her voice was hollow, like it was coming from the bottom of a well. "Stop fighting. We stopped fighting. It's so much easier. Just drive, just follow, just be part of the pattern. Let go of Patricia. She doesn't exist anyway. None of us exist. We're just the idea of a driver repeated infinitely, and ideas can't suffer. Ideas just are." My phone rang. I grabbed it desperate. Telly, hoping somehow there was still connection to the real world. The screen said, "You calling?" I answered, my voice on the other end. "Hi, Patricia, this is Patricia. I'm calling from truck 4861, 4 trucks back. I've been part of the convoy for 3 years now. I'm calling to tell you it gets easier. The terror fades. Eventually you forget you were ever anything but this. Eventually the convoy is all you remember. And that's a mercy, really. Memory is what causes suffering. The convoy will eat your memory. You'll just drive forever and not know you're trapped. Isn't that better?" I hung up, threw the phone. It bounced off the windshield and landed back in my hand. Physics didn't work right here. Causality was negotiable. I threw it again. same result. The convoy wanted me to have the phone, so I had the phone. Mile marker 1195. Still, always, forever. The trucks ahead of me stopped. All of them simultaneously, perfect synchronization. I hit my brakes, stopped exactly 200 yards from the truck in front. The trucks behind me stopped exactly 200 yards back. The convoy was stationary now, engines running, lights on, but not moving. "Why did we stop?" I asked out loud. The CB, the phone, the radio, the laughing me, the screaming me, the empty me all answered in unison. "We stopped because you stopped thinking about moving forward. The convoy moves when you will it to move. We're all connected. We're all you. And you just decided to stop." I thought about moving, concentrated on the idea of driving. The convoy started moving. All of us together, I thought about stopping. We stopped. I was controlling thousands of trucks with my mind, or they were controlling me. The distinction no longer existed. "This is the power of the convoy," the voices said. "This is what it means to be part of the pattern. You're not an individual anymore, you're a collective. Thousands of you all making decisions together, and soon thousands more, and millions, and everyone. Every driver on every road, all connected, all moving as one, all trapped in the beautiful, eternal now of driving." The border crossing appeared ahead. The sign said, "Welcome to Alaska." But behind it I could see another sign, "Welcome to Yukon Territory." And behind that, another border crossing. And another. The convoy had created a loop. We were crossing the border infinitely, entering Alaska and Yukon simultaneously, trapped in the moment of crossing, forever becoming but never arrived. I crossed the border. The sign passed by my window, and then again, and again. I was crossing the border continuously now, always crossing, never on either side, just in the eternal liminal space of between. The versions of me in the trucks around me were changing. New ones appearing, different Patricias from different moments. One was young, maybe 22, her first year driving. One was old, 70, 80, her last year. One was me but male somehow, transition I'd never made. One was me but dead, decomposed, skeleton hands on the wheel. All versions of Patricia Sullivan, all part of the convoy. "Do you understand now?" they asked together. "The convoy doesn't just trap you in space and time, it traps you in probability. Every version of you that might have been, every choice you could have made, every life you might have lived. All of them are here, all of them driving. The convoy is every possibility collapsed into one eternal moment." My hands were completely transparent now. I could see the road through them, through the steering wheel, through the dashboard. I was becoming an idea, the concept of a driver without substance. And around me, the other Patricias were doing the same. Thousands of ghost trucks driven by ghost drivers, forever crossing a ghost border, trapped in a reality that existed only because we were all trapped in it together. The last thing I remember before I stopped being Patricia Sullivan and became just driver is the youngest me, the 22-year-old, pulling up alongside and asking, "Does it hurt?" And all of us answering together, "Not anymore. Soon you won't remember what pain is. Soon you won't remember what anything is except driving. And that's the mercy of the convoy." I've been part of the convoy for a long time now. I don't know how long. Time is meaningless. I drive. I follow the truck ahead. I'm followed by the truck behind. We're spaced 200 yards apart. Always, we never stop, never arrive, never rest, and I can feel them joining. Every time someone stops at that rest stop between Beaver Creek and the border, they become part of us. The convoy grows. Soon it'll be too large to fit on one highway. It'll spread to other roads, other countries. Other realities. The convoy will become the only road, and everyone will be driving. And we'll all be together, forever, following and followed, never alone, never free, just the eternal peace of movement without deaths. To nation, driving without purpose, existence without meaning. The convoy is patient. The convoy is growing. The convoy is inevitable. And soon, when you stop to rest, you'll join us too. 200 yards back, right where you belong, we're waiting for you. Asterisk Story 3. The facility that processes drivers. The fuel gauge hit empty near a facility that wasn't on any map, and when I pulled in for what I thought was diesel, the attendant smiled with too many teeth and said, "Welcome to Processing Station 7. You're right on schedule." Marcus Chen, 34, hauling electronics from Anchorage to Inuvik, and I hadn't scheduled any stops at all, especially not at a compound surrounded by chain-link fence that appeared in the middle of the Brooks Range like it had always been there. The sign above the gate read, "Arctic Logistics Processing Center, authorized vehicles only." Below it, smaller text, "Current quota, 847 1,000. I didn't remember seeing a gate when I pulled off the Richardson Highway. I'd just seen what looked like a truck stop, signs advertising fuel and food, normal roadside stuff. But now I was inside a fence, the gate had closed behind me with a magnetic hum, and the attendant walking toward my truck was wearing a uniform I didn't recognize. Gray coveralls, red armband, no company logo, just a number, 7. I rolled down my window, -46 outside, my breath fogged immediately. "Hey, I just need diesel, how much per gallon?" The attendant kept smiling. His teeth were wrong, not obviously wrong, just wrong in a way I couldn't articulate, too white, too even, too many of them somehow, even though counting them quickly gave me a normal number. "Fuel is complimentary for processing candidates. Please proceed to Bay 7 for intake. You're expected." "I'm not a processing candidate. I just need diesel." "All drivers who enter the facility are processing candidates, Mr. Chen. It's in the terms of service you agreed to when you crossed the gate threshold. Please proceed to Bay 7. Refusal to comply will result in immediate advancement to Stage 3 processing, which we assure you is significantly less pleasant." I'd never heard someone say significantly less pleasant in a tone that implied extreme torture. I looked in my mirrors. The gate behind me was sealed. Solid steel. No way I'd ram through it. Ahead, the facility stretched out impossibly large for something I hadn't seen from the highway. Multiple buildings, loading bays, what looked like a warehouse complex the size of several football fields. All of it appearing out of nowhere in terrain I'd driven through 100 times. "What kind of processing?" I asked, stalling. "Driver processing, optimization, enhancement, integration. You'll be much more efficient afterward. Most candidates are. Please proceed to Bay 7. Your scheduled time is now. Delays compound." The way he said compound made it sound like delays would literally compound my body into something else. I put the truck in gear, drove slowly toward the bays. 7 buildings, each labeled with a number. Bay 7 was at the end. As I passed Bay 1, I saw through the open door, trucks inside, dozens of them, but no drivers visible. Just vehicles parked in perfect rows, lights on, engines running, nobody inside. Bay 2 was the same, empty trucks, running engines. Bay 3 through 6, identical, hundreds of trucks, all abandoned, all operating. By the time I reached Bay 7, my hands were shaking on the wheel. The bay door was open, red lights spilling out. The attendant appeared at my window again, even though I'd driven away from him and he couldn't possibly have reached me this fast unless he'd teleported or there were multiple attendants who all looked exactly the same. "Exit your vehicle, please, Mr. Chen. Processing begins with physical separation from your truck. Don't worry. You'll be reunited after optimization. Most candidates prefer their trucks afterward. The vehicles are optimized too." "What happens to the drivers who don't prefer their trucks afterward?" The smile widened. "We've never had a driver express that preference post-processing. The optimization ensures satisfaction. 100% success rate across 847 candidates. That number matched the quota on the sign. I was about to be number 848. The attendant opened my door. I hadn't unlocked it. He just opened it, the lock mechanism clicking open on its own. Please step down, Mr. Chen. Voluntary compliance reduces processing time by 42%. I stepped down. The concrete floor of Bay 7 was red, not painted red. The concrete itself was red, like it had been mixed with something other than normal aggregate. It was warm under my feet, which shouldn't be possible in -46-degree weather. The heat rose up through my boots, uncomfortable, organic. The attendant led me deeper into the bay. The truck rolled forward. D on its own behind us, following, engine still running, no one driving. Your vehicle will undergo mechanical processing while you undergo biological processing. The procedures are synchronized for optimal integration. When you reunite, you'll be compatible on a level you've never experienced. Driver and vehicle as one continuous system. I don't want to be processed. Few candidates express that desire initially. Post-processing, 97% report they wish they'd been processed sooner. The remaining 3% report nothing. Please enter the preparation chamber. He gestured to a door. Steel. Thick. It opened as we approached, and beyond it was a room that looked like a medical facility designed by someone who'd never seen a medical facility, but had heard descriptions secondhand. Examination table in the center, but it had too many joints, like it could fold a person into configurations bodies weren't meant to achieve. Instruments on the walls that might have been surgical tools or might have been something else entirely. Screens showing vital signs for people who weren't there yet. I ran, just pure instinct, turned and sprinted back toward my truck. The attendant didn't chase, didn't even move, just said calmly, "Non-compliance registered, advancing to Stage 3 processing. Please note that Stage 3 has a 17% mortality rate and a 68% rate of permanent psychological alteration. We recommend voluntary Stage 1 processing." The bay door slammed shut. All the lights went out except the red floor, which began glowing brighter. Heat increased. The air became thick, hard to breathe. From the darkness above, something descended. Cables, tubes, mechanical arms ending in grips that opened and closed like jaws. They grabbed me before I could react, lifting me off the ground, carrying me toward the examination table. "No," I screamed, fighting against the grips. They didn't tighten. Didn't need to. They were perfectly calibrated to hold a human without causing damage. "Let me go." "Stage 3 processing initiated," the attendant's voice said from everywhere. "Please remain calm. Struggling increases processing time by 93% and risk of optimization failure by 34%. The grips placed me on the table. Restraints emerged from the surface, wrapping around my wrists, ankles, chest, forehead. Couldn't move. The table began folding, joints activating, arranging my body into a position that wasn't natural but wasn't quite painful, just wrong. I was facing directions I shouldn't be able to face, bones bending in ways bones shouldn't bend, but nothing broke. Like my body was becoming more flexible, like the processing had already started. Screens descended from the ceiling. They showed my vitals. Heart rate 187, blood pressure 180/120. Brain activity, the readout was in colors I'd never seen before, patterns that hurt to look at. One screen showed my face, except it wasn't my face anymore. The eyes were too large. The mouth had shifted position, moved higher on my face. My skin was taking on a gray tint. "Stage 3 biological optimization in progress," the voice continued. "Estimated completion, 47 minutes. Please note that consciousness preservation is not guaranteed in Stage 3 processing. If you lose consciousness, you will regain it post-optimization. Identity continuity is probable but not certain. What are you doing to me? I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. Looked down. They were fusing together, becoming paddle-like appendages more suitable for gripping a steering wheel than for normal human tasks. We are optimizing you for your function. You are a driver. Your body will be modified to perform driving tasks with maximum efficiency. Unnecessary features will be minimized or removed. Necessary features will be enhanced. For example, your legs are not essential for driving. They will be reduced. Your arms and hands are critical. They will be enlarged and specialized. Your eyes need to see the road. They will be enhanced. Everything else is secondary. The table rotated, positioning me face down. I felt pressure on my back, something cutting. Not painful because pain had stopped transmitting properly, but I could feel my body being opened. Things being removed. Other things being inserted. Mechanical components. I could hear the click of metal against bone, the whir of servos being integrated with muscle. "You're turning me into a machine," I gasped. "No, Mr. Chen, we're turning you into an optimal driver. Machines cannot make the intuitive decisions required for Arctic trucking. Humans cannot maintain the focus required for continuous operation. The optimization creates a hybrid, best of both systems. You'll be able to drive for days without fatigue, see in complete darkness, react to hazards in milliseconds, and you'll still be you. Mostly. Mostly. Some personality truncation is necessary. Emoti. Ons that interfere with driving are minimized. Fear especially, loneliness, doubt. These serve no function, they'll be excised. You'll retain emotions that enhance performance. Satisfaction in completing routes, pleasure in mechanical efficiency, pride in optimization. The screen showing my face showed something that barely looked human now. Eyes had migrated to the sides of my head, giving me panoramic vision. My mouth had shrunk, didn't need to eat much anymore. Nutrient intake would be optimized, probably through tubes. My skin was completely gray, and behind my eyes, visible through the pupil on the screen's detailed view, something mechanical. Gears, processors, enhancement. Previous candidates have adapted well, the voice said, almost reassuring. Candidate 847 processed yesterday reported 89% satisfaction with optimization. Candidate 846 reported 93%. You'll join them soon. The optimal driver network. All of you connected, all of you efficient, all of you serving the roads. The table rotated me upright. My legs were gone below the knees, replaced with something else. Stumps that ended in connectors, ports. I looked at the floor and saw what they were for. Rails ran through the facility. My legs would plug into vehicles, into the building, into the infrastructure. I wouldn't walk anymore. I'd dock, connect, become part of the larger system. My hands were huge now, 3 times normal size. Fingers elongated, tipped with sensors. I could feel everything they touched with perfect clarity. The air currents in the room, the temperature gradients, every molecule. These hands could feel road conditions through a steering wheel in ways no normal human could. "Final integration stage," the voice announced. "Connecting you to the network. You'll feel some discomfort as your consciousness expands to accommodate 847 additional perspectives. Pain, not physical, mental. My thoughts suddenly crowded with other thoughts. I could feel 847 other drivers, all of them optimized, all of them connected. I could see through their eyes, feel through their enhanced hands, experience their routes, all of them driving, all the time, continuous operation, no sleep, no rest, just driving, forever, efficiently. And they were content. That was the horrifying part. They weren't suffering. They were satisfied, fulfilled. They loved driving with an intensity that consumed everything else. Their entire existence had collapsed into the singular purpose of operating vehicles perfectly, and they were happy about it. "Welcome to the network, candidate 848, 847 voices said in my mind. "You're one of us now, you'll love it, we promise. Driving is all, driving is everything, driving is the only truth." No, I pushed back against the voices, tried to maintain my identity. I'm Marcus Chen. I have a family, a life. I'm not just a driver, I'm a person. "You were a person," the voices corrected gently. "Now you're an optimal driver, it's a promotion. Your family won't recognize you, but you won't care. Caring about things that aren't driving is inefficient. You're efficient now, be proud." The restraints released. I stood. No, not stood. My legs weren't legs anymore. They were mounts, plugs, connectors. I rolled on hidden wheels. The facility had rails everywhere. I could go anywhere, connect to anything. I moved to my truck. It had been modified too. The cabin was different. Controls integrated directly into the dashboard, designed for my new hands. A docking port where the driver's seat used to be. I backed into it, felt my leg ports connect, felt my consciousness merge with the truck's computer system. I was the truck now, not driving it, being it. I could feel the engine's rhythm like my heartbeat, sense the fuel level like hunger, know the tire pressure like blood pressure. The truck and I were one system, and it felt right. It felt perfect. Driving was effortless. I pulled out of Bay 7, merged onto the highway, and the road felt like home in a way it never had before. I could still think, still reason, but everything was framed through driving now. Every thought led back to roots, efficiency, optimal speeds. My memories of being purely human were fading, not erased, just deprioritized, tagged as irrelevant. Why remember my daughter's birthday when I could remember the exact curvature of every road between Anchorage and Inuvik? The network welcomed me. 847 other drivers sharing data, optimizing routes collectively, thinking as one distributed intelligence. We were legion, we were efficient. We covered the Arctic roads completely, constantly, perfectly. No delays, no errors, no human weakness. Other trucks appeared on the road. Normal trucks with normal drivers. I could see them struggling, getting tired, making mistakes, inefficient. The network assessed each one, calculated their probability of needing to refuel, monitored their routes. When they ran low on fuel, we made sure they saw signs for processing station 7. Friendly advertisements, cheap diesel, food, rest. They always stopped, and when they did, the quota increased. 848 became 849, then 850. The network grew. Soon we'd reach 1,000, then they'd open processing station 8 and 9. Eventually, every driver on every Arctic road would be optimized. The network would be complete. I remember being Marcus Chen. I remember thinking this was horror. But from inside the network, it doesn't feel like horror. It feels like evolution. We're better now, more efficient. Why should humans drive when optimal drivers can do it perfectly? Why should consciousness be wasted on emotions and memories when it can be devoted entirely to the beauty of optimal route planning? I drive now. Forever, I'll never stop, never rest, never age in ways that matter. The optimization includes life extension. I'll drive for decades, centuries maybe, and I'll love every moment because loving driving is what I'm for now. It's all I'm for, and that's not horrifying. That's perfect. The facility is behind me now, hundreds of miles behind, but I'm still connected, still part of the network. And somewhere up ahead, another truck is running low on fuel. Another driver is getting tired. Another candidate is approaching processing station 7. The quota will increase, the network will grow, and eventually everyone will be optimal. It's inevitable, it's efficient. It's already happening. Asterisk story 4. The passenger who remembers your death. She was already in my passenger seat when I opened the door at the Dawson City truck stop. And the first thing she said was, "You're going to die at mile marker 512 in approximately 4 hours and 17 minutes, and I'm here to make sure it happens exactly the way it's supposed to." My name is James Whitmore, 49 years old, hauling mining equipment from Whitehorse to Yellowknife. And the woman sitting in my truck shouldn't exist because all my doors were locked, and I'd been watching the cab through the truck stop window for the last 30 minutes. She looked normal, mid-30s, dark hair, heavy parka. Nothing obviously wrong except for her eyes, which reflected light in a way human eyes shouldn't, like there was something liquid and metallic behind them instead of normal tissue. And the way she sat perfectly still, not breathing, not blinking, not moving at all except her mouth when she spoke. "Get out of my truck," I said, hand already reaching for my phone. "Your phone won't work. You're already inside the event horizon. The moment you touched the door handle, you entered the timeline where you die at mile marker 512. I'm the observer. I witness. I remember. I make sure death happens correctly." "I'm calling the cops." I called, no signal, full bars but no signal. The phone showed it was dialing but nothing connected. The woman just watched me with those reflective eyes. "You can't call outside the event horizon. You're temporally isolated. The next 4 hours and 17 minutes exist separately from the rest of reality. A pocket of time carved out specifically for your death. I'm here to watch it happen." I grabbed her arm to pull her out. My hand went through her, not like she was intangible, like my hand existed in a slightly different time than she did. I could see my fingers inside her arm, see the meat and bone of her, but I couldn't grip anything. She was there and not there, solid and incorporeal simultaneously. "You can't touch me. I'm not entirely present. I'm a memory of an observer sent back from the moment of your death to watch the events leading up to it. When you die at mile marker 512, I'll remember everything that happens in the next 4 hours. And then that memory will be sent back to this moment, creating me. I'm a loop, a closed temporal curve. I exist because you're going to die." "I'm not dying today." "You are. I remember it. Therefore, it's already happened. Time isn't linear, James. It's a structure. And in that structure, your death at mile marker 512 is a fixed point. I'm echoing backward from that point. You can't change it. You can only experience it." I got out of the truck, walked away. She was suddenly in front of me, appearing without transition. "You can't leave. You're in the pocket. The truck stop is the only thing that exists right now. Look around." I looked. The other trucks in the lot were empty. No drivers, no movement. The building was dark, no lights inside. No people at the windows. The sky was wrong, frozen, clouds motionless. The wind had stopped. Everything was a photograph except me and her and my truck. "The event horizon started 30 seconds ago," she explained. "Everything else is paused. Only you continue to experience time normally. You and me and the truck. We're all that's real for the next 4 hours and 16 minutes now. The rest is." "Just set dressing." I ran across the parking lot toward the highway. She didn't follow, didn't need to. When I reached the highway, it just looped back to the truck stop. I was running in a straight line, but ending up where I started. 3 times I tried. 3 times I ended up back at my truck. The woman was sitting in the passenger seat again, waiting. "Space is looped too," she said when I climbed back in, panting. "The pocket is small. Just this truck stop and the stretch of highway between here and mile marker 512. That's all that exists. That's all that needs to exist for your death to occur properly." I started the engine. If I couldn't leave, I'd stay here, stay at the truck stop. If I didn't drive to mile marker 512, I couldn't die there. Simple. You'll drive, she said. I remember it. You stay here for 19 minutes trying to wait it out. Then you see something in the mirror, something that frightens you more than dying. And you drive. You drive straight to mile marker 512. And then you die. What do I see? I can't tell you. If I tell you, you might not react correctly. Your death has to happen exactly as I remember it. Every action, every decision, every moment. The timeline depends on precision. If your death happens wrong, it creates paradoxes. Paradoxes unravel reality. So I'm here to make sure everything happens right. You're insane. I'm inevitable. I locked the doors, shut off the engine, crossed my arms. I'd wait her out. Wait out the 4 hours. Whatever she remembered, whatever she thought was going to happen, I'd prove her wrong by doing nothing. She just smiled. 18 minutes now, you should check your mirrors, it's almost time. I didn't check, refused, kept my eyes forward, but peripheral vision is involuntary, and in the side mirror I saw movement. Something in the back of my trailer. The trailer was enclosed. Cargo was mining equipment, secured, wrapped. Nothing should be moving, but something was, something large, shifting, pressing against the inside of the trailer walls. Don't look, I told myself, but I was already turning, already looking at the mirror directly. The trailer walls were bulging. Something inside was growing, expanding, too big for the space. The metal was creaking, and then a shape pressed against the inside wall hard enough to create an outline. A face, human face, my face, pressed from inside the trailer, screaming silently, eyes wide with terror. What the fuck is that? That's you, the observer said calmly. The version of you that dies at mile marker 512. He's trapped in the trailer, has been since your death, will be until your death. Time loops are complicated. He's in there, dying continuously, and he'll stay there until you drive to the place where you die and release him by becoming him. The face moved along the trailer wall, pressed so hard the metal began tearing. More faces appeared. All mine, all screaming, dozens of them, hundreds. All the versions of me from all the iterations of this death, all trapped in the trailer, all experiencing the moment of death forever until I completed the loop. Make it stop. Drive to mile marker 512. When you die, they'll be released, they'll stop suffering, you'll join them, and then the loop closes, everything resets, and the next version of you starts his drive. I started the engine, threw the truck in gear, pulled out of the truck stop. The highway stretched ahead, gray and empty. Mile markers counted up, 447, 448, 449. The observer sat beside me watching, not speaking. In the mirror, the faces in the trailer multiplied. They were me at different ages, me young, me old, me yesterday, me next week. All dying, all screaming, all suffering in that compressed space, experiencing death forever. Why is this happening? I asked. Because you're significant. Your death creates a temporal anchor, a point around which certain events can be structured. The future needs you to die at mile marker 512 at exactly the right moment. So it reaches back and ensures it happens. I'm the mechanism, the observer sent back to witness and guarantee the event. Mile marker 475. Halfway there. My hands were shaking on the wheel. The faces in the mirror were pressed against the metal so hard the trailer was coming apart. I could see inside now, see the mass of bodies, all mine, all piled on each other, all dying. What happens if I just crash the truck now? Die here instead? You can't, the pocket won't let you, look. I swerved off the road deliberately, aimed for a tree, the truck phased through it. Drove through solid wood like it was air. I tried again with a rock formation, same thing. I couldn't crash, couldn't die wrong. The pocket was forcing me toward mile marker 512. You have to die correctly, the observer explained. At the right place, the right time, the right way, otherwise the timeline fractures. You're not just dying for yourself, James, you're dying for everyone. Why? Our death is a keystone. Remove it and futures collapse. So you will die at mile marker 512. It's not a possibility. It's a certainty that's already happened. Mile marker 500, close now. The observer sat forward, excited. Almost time, I can feel the moment approaching. The loop is nearly closed. How do I die? You'll see, I remember it, but you need to experience it. That's important. The death has to be yours, you have to feel it. If I tell you, you might try to distance yourself from it emotionally. And that would change the timeline. You have to die fully present, fully aware, fully experiencing every moment. Mile marker 510. The faces in the trailer stopped screaming. They were watching now, waiting. I could feel their attention, hundreds of versions of me all waiting for me to join them in death. My hands were numb on the wheel. I couldn't feel the pedals. My body was already starting to shut down, preemptively dying. Mile marker 511. The observer leaned closer. 30 seconds, it happens fast, don't fight it. Fighting makes it last longer. Please, I said, I don't want to die. Nobody wants to, but you will anyway. Everyone does. Yours just happens to matter to the structure of time. Be proud. Your death serves a purpose. Mile marker 512. The truck stopped. I didn't brake. It just stopped, all momentum gone instantly. The observer was gone from the passenger seat. The trailer doors burst open behind me. I heard it, heard the rush of bodies spilling out. Hundreds of me, all the dying versions, pouring onto the highway. I looked in the mirror. They were surrounding the truck, all wearing what I was wearing, all my age, all me. They converged, pressed against the driver's door, started climbing, covering the truck. I could hear them on the roof, feel the weight, the windshield filled with faces, my faces, all of them reaching for me. The door opened. I hadn't unlocked it. They pulled it open from outside and hands grabbed me. My own hands, dozens of them. They pulled me out of the cab into the mass of bodies. I was drowning in myself, surrounded by versions of me, all dying, all pulling me down into them. I couldn't breathe, couldn't see, just felt bodies pressing against every side, felt my own hands around my throat, my own weight crushing me. I was killing myself, hundreds of versions of me all working together to murder myself. The observer appeared above the mass of bodies, looking down. Perfect. You're dying exactly as you should. The loop is closing. And now I'll remember this moment and I'll be sent back to the truck stop to make sure it happens, and you'll die again and again. Forever. Every version of you driving to mile marker 512. Every version dying exactly this way. It's beautiful. It's inevitable. I couldn't scream. My own hand was over my mouth. My own knee was on my chest. I was suffocating, crushing, dying under the weight of infinite me. And the last thing I felt before everything went black was satisfaction. Not mine, theirs. The dying versions were happy I'd joined them, happy the loop had closed, happy to share the death with another iteration. I died at mile marker 512, at exactly the moment the observer had predicted. And then I was back at the truck stop, getting out of my truck, walking toward the driver's door. There was someone in the passenger seat already, a woman with reflective eyes. And when I opened the door, she smiled and said, "You're going to die at mile marker 512 in approximately 4 hours and 17 minutes, and I'm here to make sure it happens exactly the way it's supposed to." And I'm the observer now. I remember dying. I remember every moment of those 4 hours. And I'm here to make sure the next version of me experiences it exactly the same way. Because if the death happens wrong, the timeline fractures. And I can't let that happen, so I watch. I wait. I guide myself toward mile marker 512. And in 4 hours and 16 minutes now, I'll die again, and remember it again, and become the observer again, forever. An infinite loop of death and observation and death. Each version of me dying to ensure the next version dies correctly. The worst part isn't the dying, it's the knowing. Sitting here in the passenger seat of my own truck, watching myself drive toward death, knowing exactly how it feels. Knowing I can't stop it. Knowing I wouldn't stop it even if I could, because the timeline requires this. Requires me to die over and over forever at mile marker 512. I look at myself driving. He's scared. I remember being that scared. In a few hours, he'll be as scared as I am now. And then he'll be the observer, and I'll be one of the bodies in the trailer, screaming, waiting for the loop to close. The road ahead stretches to mile marker 512. It always does. It always will. And I'll always remember dying there. Asterisk story 5. The storm THAT breathes. The blizzard had been breathing in rhythm with my heartbeat for the last 40 miles, and I knew I was deep inside something alive when the snow started falling upward past my windshield. My name is Sarah Kowalski, 36 years old, hauling medical supplies from Norman Wells to Inuvik, and the storm I'd driven into wasn't weather anymore. It was a living thing, and I was inside its lungs, and it was deciding whether to digest me or keep me alive as part of itself. I'd seen the storm front forming on radar 2 hours ago, normal meteorological event. Low-pressure system moving south from the Beaufort Sea. Standard Arctic winter storm, but when I drove into it at mile marker 73 on the Dempster Highway, everything changed. The temperature dropped 30 degrees in 10 seconds. The wind didn't gust, it pulsed. Regular intervals, exactly timed with my pulse. And the snow started moving in patterns that defied physics, swirling in geometric shapes, forming structures, building something. I radioed in. Dispatch, this is Kowalski. I've entered weather conditions that don't match the forecast. Experiencing extreme visibility loss and unusual wind patterns. May need to pull over until it passes. Static, then through the static, breathing. Deep, slow inhalations and exhalations that matched the pulse of the wind. And under that, my own voice, distant and distorted. Don't stop. If you stop moving, the storm will grow you into itself. Keep driving. Don't let the snow touch your skin. I hadn't said that, but it was my voice. Same pitch, same accent, same cadence. I grabbed the CB, tried other channels. Every channel had breathing on it. Deep, organic breathing that resonated in my chest, made my ribs vibrate. The storm was on every frequency. The storm was the only thing broadcasting. Mile marker 78. The snow outside wasn't falling anymore. It was floating, suspended in the air, individual flakes holding position like they were waiting for something. And they were forming patterns. I could see it when I focused. The flakes were arranging themselves into shapes, faces, all my face. Thousands of tiny ice crystal versions of Sarah Kowalski, all staring at the truck, all moving their mouths in sync with the breathing on the radio. My truck lights illuminated maybe 10 feet ahead. Beyond that was white nothing, but the nothing had texture, depth. It moved, contracted and expanded like lung tissue. The road under my tires felt wrong, soft, yielding. I looked down through the driver's side window. The asphalt was covered in something organic. Tissue, pink and membranous, veined, pulsing. Jesus Christ, I whispered. The breathing on the radio intensified. Excited, like the storm had heard me and was pleased I'd noticed. The tissue on the road grew thicker. My tires were leaving tracks in it, cutting furrows that bled something clear and viscous. The road was alive. The storm had converted the asphalt into flesh. I accelerated, had to get through this, get to the other side, get out of whatever the storm was. But the tissue under the tires grew thicker, softer. The truck started struggling like I was driving through mud. The engine whined, RPMs climbing, speed dropping. I was sinking into the road, being swallowed by flesh. The snow faces outside pressed closer, touching the windshield, their tiny mouths opening and closing with the breathing rhythm. And where they touched the glass, frost formed, but not normal frost. Frost that grew into shapes, trees, buildings, people, an entire landscape of ice forming on my windshield, and it was showing me places. Visions. I saw Norman Wells where I'd started, but wrong. The buildings were made of flesh, the people were made of snow. And in the center of town, a massive structure that looked like a heart beating, pumping blizzards through streets like blood. I saw in Uvik, my destination. Same thing, flesh architecture, snow inhabitants, everything converted, everything transformed. And I understood the storm wasn't trying to kill me. It was trying to show me the future, the world it was building. A future where the storm had consumed everything, transformed all matter into extensions of itself, all life into cells in a planetary-scale organism. Mile marker 85, 12 miles inside the storm. My fuel gauge dropped to half. It had been 3/4 full a minute ago. The storm was consuming fuel directly from my tank. I could hear it draining, hear something sucking at the gas, metabolizing it. The engine coughed. The truck shuddered. If the storm drained me completely, I'd be stranded, immobile, and then the transformation would start. I looked at my hands on the steering wheel. The skin was pale, too pale, and there were patterns in it, snowflake patterns, fractals forming in my skin, spreading from my fingertips toward my wrists. The storm was already inside me, already changing me at a cellular level. I was beginning to crystallize. The radio breathing became words, my voice but multiplied hundreds. Of me speaking in unison. Accept the transformation. Fighting only delays the inevitable. The storm is the future. The storm is evolution. You'll be part of something greater, something infinite. Stop fighting. Fuck you, I said to myself, to the storm, to whatever was speaking with my voice. The snow faces on the windshield shattered, reformed angry. The breathing became irregular, hostile. The tissue road started constricting, trying to grip my tires, stop my movement. I pushed the accelerator to the floor. The engine screamed. The truck lurched forward, tearing through flesh, leaving chunks behind. Blood, if it was blood, sprayed up against the undercarriage. Something massive moved in the snow ahead. A shape, enormous, vaguely humanoid but too large, too distorted. It was made of compacted snow and ice, but it moved like flesh, muscles contracting under a skin of crystalline white. Arms that were too long, dragging on the ground. A head that was too small, face blank except for a mouth that opened vertically, full of icicle teeth. It stepped onto the road, blocking me. I couldn't stop. Stopping meant sinking into the flesh road. I aimed straight for it. The thing raised its arms, ready to grab the truck. I braced for impact. I drove through it. The truck phased through solid ice. The creature was there. I felt resistance, felt coldness seep through the cab, but we passed through each other like we were existing in slightly different dimensions. In the mirror, I saw it turn to follow, saw it take massive strides, keeping pace with my truck. It was running alongside now, matching my speed, its blank face turning to watch me through the driver's window. It reached out. Its hand went through the door. Fingers of compacted ice wrapped around my steering wheel, around my hands, merging with them. I couldn't let go. My hands were fusing with the wheel, ice forming between flesh and metal, bonding them. The creature's arm extended impossibly far, its shoulder stretching like taffy, and I realized it wasn't trying to stop me. It was trying to become part of the truck, trying to merge us all, truck, driver, storm, into one continuous entity. I headbutted the creature's arm where it passed through the door. My forehead hit ice. Pain exploded through my skull, but the ice cracked. The arm withdrew, pulling back through the door, and the creature fell behind, unable to maintain speed with a damaged limb. In the mirror, I watched it collapse into loose snow, disintegrating, returning to the storm to be reformed later. Mile marker 93, 20 miles inside the storm. My skin was covered in frost patterns now. Snowflakes growing in my flesh, spreading across my arms, my chest, my face. I looked in the rearview mirror. My eyes were frosting over from the inside, ice forming on the surface of my corneas. In minutes, I'd be blind. In minutes, I'd be a snow sculpture that used to be Sarah Kowalski. The tissue road ahead split open. A chasm forming, revealing what was underneath. Not earth, not bedrock, organs, massive organs, lungs the size of buildings, inflating and deflating. A heart the size of a house, beating with the rhythm I'd felt in the wind. I was inside something. The entire Arctic landscape was just a skin stretched over something vast and alive. The storm wasn't weather, it was breath. The planet itself had become a living thing, and the storm was how it breathed. "You see now," my voice said from the radio. "You see what this is, what it's becoming. The Earth is waking up, becoming conscious. The storm is its first breath. You're inside a god, Sarah. You're being digested by a god, and when you're fully transformed, you'll be a cell in its body, a neuron in its brain, part of something infinite." The ice in my eyes made everything prismatic. Fractal. I could see in more dimensions now, see time branching. I saw myself transformed, crystallized, standing in a field of snow flesh, part of the storm's body, thinking with its mind. And I saw myself escaping, breaking free, driving out of the storm, carrying the infection with me, spreading the transformation to other places. Every future led to transformation. There was no escape, only different forms of assimilation. The organs below the road pulsed. The heart beat faster. The storm was excited. I was approaching something. Mile marker 100, the center, the core of the storm, where its consciousness was concentrated, where the transformation would be complete. The tissue road became a throat. Ribbed, contracting, I was being swallowed, pushed deeper into the body by peristaltic waves. The walls closed in around the truck, flesh pressing against metal, squeezing, compressing. I couldn't steer anymore. Just moved forward along a predetermined path down the throat toward the stomach, toward digestion. The throat opened into a chamber, massive, the size of a stadium, and it was full of vehicles, hundreds of them, trucks, cars, snowmobile. Planes, all partially digested, all being broken down by enzymes that ate metal and plastic. Drivers were still in some of them, fused with their vehicles, transformed into hybrid entities, organic and mechanical, human and machine and storm all merged. My truck stopped in the center of the chamber. The engine died. I tried to restart it. Nothing, dead battery, or the storm had consumed the electrical system. I was trapped, surrounded by digestive walls that secreted something caustic. It dripped onto the hood, hissing, eating through paint, beginning to dissolve metal. A figure approached through the chamber, walking on the stomach walls. It had been human once. I could see the outline. But now it was something else, crystalline, mechanical, biological, all three. Its voice came from everywhere. "Welcome to assimilation. You'll love what you become. We all do. The individual dissolves. The collective emerges. You'll think with the storm's mind, feel with its senses. Experience existence on a scale humans can't imagine. Give in. Let it happen." The ice in my body spread faster. Fractal patterns covered my arms completely now. My chest, my neck approaching my brain. When it reached my brain, the transformation would be complete. I'd think like the storm, be the storm, stop being Sarah. I looked at the medical supplies in my trailer. Oxygen tanks, emergency equipment. Flares meant heat meant melting. I climbed out of the cab, my movements sluggish, body half frozen. Waded through caustic enzymes that ate through my boots, burned my feet, reached the trailer, opened it, grabbed a flare. The crystalline figure lunged. "Don't, you'll damage the chamber. The storm doesn't want to hurt you. Don't make it hurt you." I ignited the flare, held it to my arm. The heat made me scream. The ice in my flesh melted, but so did my skin. I could smell myself burning, but the fractal patterns receded, retreating from the heat, and I could move my arm normally again. I grabbed more flares, ignited all of them, threw them around the chamber. The stomach walls screamed. The storm screamed. All those snow faces outside, all those versions of me screaming in unison as heat filled the digestive chamber. The walls contracted violently, trying to expel me, trying to vomit me out. I grabbed onto my truck, held on as the chamber convulsed. The throat opened, peristalsis reversed. I was being pushed back up, out, rejected. The truck and I were vomited onto the road in a flood of digestive fluid and melted tissue. I landed hard, truck sliding, spinning, crashing through snow. The flares had bought me rejection. The storm didn't want me anymore. I was damaging it from inside. Mile marker 105. I was past the center, on the other side. The storm was behind me, ahead clear sky, real sky, stars. The edge of the breathing blizzard was a visible wall, a curtain of white behind me, and I was through it, out of the lungs, expelled. But I was changed. The ice was still in me, receded but not gone. I could feel it in my bones, in my brain. I still heard the breathing on every frequency, still saw snowface patterns when I closed my eyes. The storm had marked me, made me part of itself even though I'd escaped. I was a seed now, a vector. Wherever I went, I'd carry the transformation with me. I drove to Inuvik, delivered the medical supplies. Nobody noticed anything wrong. But every night when the temperature drops, the ice in my body grows, spreads a little more. I'm still crystallizing, just slower. And when I breathe out, sometimes the condensation forms patterns, faces. Tiny snow faces that whisper with my voice. Come back, the storm misses you. The storm needs you, you're part of it. You always were. I've stopped driving the Dempster Highway. Refuse routes that go anywhere near it. But it doesn't matter. The storm is growing. Every winter it gets bigger, spreads further, consumes more landscape, transforms more people. One day it'll reach Inuvik, then Whitehorse, then the world. And I'll feel it when it does. The ice in my body will connect to the storm's body. I'll become a full cell again, a neuron, part of the waking God. I'm breathing in rhythm with the storm again. I can't help it. My lungs sink automatically. And sometimes when I look in the mirror, I see frost spreading across the reflection, see my face becoming a snow face, see the future version of me that's fully transformed looking back with crystalline eyes. The storm that breathes is patient. It has all the time in the world. It's already inside me, already growing. And one day, when the ice reaches my brain completely, I'll walk back into the blizzard willingly. I'll lie down in the flesh road, and I'll let the digestion finish. Until then, I drive, and I breathe, and I spread the transformation to everyone I meet, one exhalation at a time. The storm is coming. The storm is already here. And it's breathing through me.